No, 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 this is all a lie. In front of a house enveloped in the commotion of fire trucks and police cars, there she sat, the mom friend, completely deflated. I couldn't muster a shred of sympathy for her pitiful figure. Even though she graduated from a prestigious university and led a life of excellence, she lost sight of what's important as a person. She's facing the consequences of her own actions. I'm Hannah, a housewife struggling every morning with preparing lunches for my husband and daughter. My daughter Zoe just turned into a senior kindergartner this April, and she adoringly gazes at the backpack we painstakingly chose, dreaming of the day she'll start elementary school. My husband Joseph was originally my childhood friend's older brother, 3 years my senior. He adores our daughter to the depths of his heart and dedicates his days off entirely to family time. He's a great dad. We, an ordinary family, have lived a happy life without any major troubles. But recently, someone has been disturbing our peaceful life. Hannah, good morning. On a late September morning, as the remnants of summer heat began to fade, I was stopped on my way back from dropping my daughter off at kindergarten by a stinky voice. Without turning around, I knew who it was, the person I disliked the most. Oh, it's Lucy's mom. She was holding her baby in a baby carrier, her right hand clasping Lucy, my daughter's classmate, and her left hand intertwined with her younger son. And to top it off, she had 2 more kids in elementary school, a true mother of many. Seeing me downtrodden in the morning, she laughed. Wow, so gloomy for someone so young. It's bringing down my mood. What? You must be struggling with money, right? It's your own fault for having a child and getting married at 19. Unlike you, I planned my life well, got an education and had kids. Don't be jealous of me. What? If you're so strapped for cash, maybe it's time you got a job, now that Zoe's a senior kindergartner. Oh, I forgot, with your low education and early marriage, who would hire you? Sorry about that. Yes? I let her baseless and mean assumptions wash over me. My disinterested response must have made her think I'm just a lethargic youth, and she didn't seem to care at all. Oh, look at the time. I've spent too much time with you. Come on, Lucy, let's go. After unloading her one-sided opinions, she left with a refreshed look on her face. Left behind, I sighed under the sympathetic gazes of those around me. What a terrible, awful morning. It started half a year ago, when my daughter became a senior kindergartner, and ended up in the same class as Lucy. The kindergarten has many classes, and my daughter and Lucy had never been in the same one before, so I hadn't really spoken to Lucy's mom, only hearing she was a bit troublesome. But then, on the first parent observation day of the new school year, she asked me with a smile, "You're quite young, aren't you, Hannah? How old are you?" I'm 25. 25? Her loud exclamation drew glances from other moms around us. Hey, you're being loud. Oh, but I was just so surprised. That means you had Zoe when you were 19, right? Yes, that's correct. I answered honestly, as there was nothing to be ashamed of. Then she scrutinized me from head to toe. Wow, you seem so demure, but you're quite something, aren't you? What? Shocked by her crude remark, I saw her smirk in a distasteful way. In that moment, I realized she was looking for someone to belittle. Thankfully, some mom friends, sensing the awkward atmosphere, pulled me away from the situation. But then, every time Lucy's mom saw me, the loose girl who got pregnant and married at 19, the woman who couldn't go to college because of her early marriage and pregnancy, The uneducated poor person who can't even get a job. She would throw all sorts of demeaning words my way. The fact that I had a child at 19 was true, but everything else was her wild imagination. I corrected her many times, but to her, having a child at 19 equals uneducated and married due to pregnancy was an unchangeable equation. Apparently, she was nearly a decade older than me, proud of graduating from college, having a respectable job, a proper husband, and 5 children. In her eyes, someone like me living a decent life was utterly unbelievable. And because Lucy's mom demeaned me publicly, other moms began to keep their distance. Indeed, being 25 with a 6-year-old is rare, and I had been the subject of curiosity before. But being openly avoided like this was new to me, and honestly it hurt. My only solace was my friends, who knew me since my daughter was a baby. "Don't worry about her." Or, "Shall we speak up for you?" They comforted and defended me. I was grateful, but I didn't want my kind friends to become targets of Lucy's mom. "Having you by my side is enough for me," I told them. However, as much as I tried to be strong, my body and mind were honest. The thought of taking my daughter to kindergarten made my stomach ache, and I could barely eat breakfast. Why did I, who did nothing wrong, have to endure such unpleasantness? Feeling indignant about this unjust situation, I endured it because Lucy was a good girl and friends with my daughter, not wanting to involve them in adult conflicts. Then, one weekend, as I was relaxing with my daughter, the doorbell rang. Thinking it was a delivery, I checked the monitor, only to see the last person I wanted to meet on my day off. There she stood, Lucy's mom and her 5 children. I had a bad feeling about this. Why on earth did she know where I lived? I wanted to pretend not to be home, but couldn't ignore her in front of my daughter, so I reluctantly cracked open the door. Instantly, her long nails wedged into the gap, forcing the door wide open. "Sorry to bother you on your day off. I thought you'd definitely be home, Hannah." "What do you want?" "Well, I need to go out today, but my husband is busy. You're free, right, Hannah? Could you watch my kids?" "What?" "Until around 7 p.m. would be great. My kids are all well behaved, so don't worry. Just let them play games." "What?" I was speechless at her audacious request. Her elementary school-age sons were already sitting in front of my house, silently playing their games. Lucy and her sister looked up at me, sucking their fingers, and the youngest, barely able to sit up, had a face smeared with drool and snot. Take care of these kids until tonight? Impossible, utterly impossible. Even a close friend would hesitate in this situation, let alone babysitting 5 kids for someone I dislike. That would be torture. I've had enough. Looked down upon, belittled, and now treated like a servant. I had been quiet for the sake of the children, but if I let her continue, my sanity would break. Just the thought of her invading my rest day was unbearable. Moreover, this is the precious home I share with my beloved daughter and husband. I won't allow her filthy feet to step in here. Never. No, I won't. What? Lucy's mom's thin eyebrows twitched. I have the day off today, and I'm planning to relax with my daughter. What? Her face momentarily contorted with rage, but she quickly regained composure, veins throbbing in her temples as she forced a thin smile. Oh, pretending to be busy because you don't want to watch my kids? You're unemployed. Every day is like a day off for you. I am not unemployed. But I know you're always home. Stop with the embarrassing lies. Just give the kids some snacks and meals. Oh, and feed the youngest baby food twice. It doesn't look like you brought any snacks, meals, or baby food. That's something you should prepare. Even an inexperienced mom with only one child can handle baby food. I can't. as I'm an inexperienced mom with only one child. Enough. Just take them quietly. Her irritation mounted as I steadfastly refused, her words and demeanor growing harsher. Then my husband appeared from behind her, returning from work. I'm home. Daddy! She flinched at the sight of the large man in a tank top. Daddy! My husband nodded at her and then patted my shoulder. Sorry I'm late. There were a lot of call-outs last night. Just finished up. It's okay. Glad you're not hurt. Zoe's dad is. Oh, my husband is. My dad is a firefighter. Isn't he cool? My daughter proudly boasted about her dad's job before I could reply. Wow. Her face twisted uncomfortably. She probably imagined my husband to be a more disheveled, lonely person. Turning towards her, he spoke up. Ma'am, could you please leave for today? My wife and I would like to spend our day off relaxing with our daughter. What are you talking about? She's unemployed, right? What are you saying? My wife works from home as a translator. What? She let out a scream-like exclamation, shocked. No way, without a college degree? Her confusion was evident as my background was far different from her delusions. I'm used to her belittling comments, but my husband looked very displeased. It seems you're mistaken about a few things. My wife was attending graduate school until last year. What? No, that's a lie. As my husband continued to reveal my true background, she became increasingly agitated. I had told her the same things, but she never believed or even listened. Sighing, I explained my situation. You didn't know much about me until this year, right? That's because we were in different classes, and I was attending graduate school while my parents took care of the kindergarten drop-offs and pickups for Zoe. What? I had Zoe at 19, while in college, because of a medical condition that made it uncertain how long I could have children. Yes, my decision to have a child at 19 wasn't due to a contraceptive failure. I was advised by doctors to have children as soon as possible if I wanted them. My husband and I had been dating since middle school. His job was secured, and we had plans to marry after I graduated from college. So after discussions with both our parents, we decided to have a child while I was still in college. After giving birth, with the encouragement of my parents and in-laws, I returned to college and even went to graduate school. Thanks to that, I'm now working in my dream job as a translator. It's a great fit for me, especially since I have a chronic illness and can work from home. It was because of the understanding and support of my husband and our families that I could have my wonderful daughter and not give up on my studies and career aspirations. I'm truly grateful to them. After all this explanation, she finally realized I wasn't the lowly person she thought I was and sat down on the spot, pale-faced. That's terrible. So terrible. You deceived and looked down on me after I was so kind to you. Her condescending remarks were her idea of kindness. I could only respond with a dry laugh. I've denied it many times. It was you who stubbornly clung to your misconceptions. I spoke calmly, but she glared at me tearfully. Then, catching sight of my husband, she tried to cozy up to him with an upward glaze. I was just worried about Hannah, because she seemed to be struggling. I tried to help, but this is just terrible. Don't you think so, Joseph? As she tried to touch his chest with his sugary voice, my husband briskly brushed her hand away. She stood there, dumbfounded. Did she really think she could find solace from another woman's husband? At this point, her delusions and assumptions were almost impressive. My husband looked down at her with cold eyes, full of self-assurance. So, what you're saying is my wife has been suffering because of my incompetence? No, that's not. Thank you for your concern. From now on, I promise not to let my wife struggle. So please go home. What? Please leave. I don't want my wife to suffer anymore. Huh? You want my wife to stay well, don't you? Then please leave. Come on, out you go. He gently pushed her trembling shoulder, guiding her out. She tried to steady herself in her high heels, but the bright red paint on them just peeled off. Wait, I really have an important appointment. I'm in trouble if you don't take care of my kids. That's unfortunate, but it's not our problem. How cruel. We're friends, aren't we? Friends. We're not friends. Her face contorted like a demon mask as I denied her claim. Seizing the opportunity, my husband ushered Lucy's family outside and closed the door. Hey, let me in. We'll call the police if you make any more noise. Call the police? Are you crazy? I'll never be nice to you again. I'll make sure you and your daughter can't stay at the kindergarten. 911. No. Wait, Mom. Mom. Their weak protests and her pathetic shrieks faded into the distance. Although it was an awful way to spend our day off, it felt somewhat refreshing to reject her clearly. Most of all, I was happy that my husband stood up for me, both as a shield and a weapon. As promised, Lucy's mom tried to isolate my daughter and me further at kindergarten. But I consulted with the kindergarten first, making the teachers our allies. Apparently, she had been problematic since her older sons were in kindergarten, so the teachers believed me. My friends also rallied for me, and moms who had previously kept their distance started to understand my situation and spoke kindly to me. Far from being isolated, I was treated with kindness by everyone, which only angered her more. But then, she caused a major incident that left her with no room to attack me. One afternoon, a fire broke out at her house. The cause, Lucy, left unsupervised, had used the stove. A fire started when a paper bag near the stove caught fire and spread to the curtains. Her older children, noticing the fire, rushed the younger ones outside and called for help, averting a major disaster. By chance, my husband was in charge of putting out the fire. Can't get in touch with the children's mom, he informed me. Reluctantly, I helped the police search for her, and she was found in a casino. She had left her children at home since morning, turned off her mobile phone, and gone gambling. Lucy had tried to cook to feed her hungry younger sibling, imitating what she had seen her mother do. The big win is coming soon. Lucy's mom, clenching to the casino machines, believing her luck was about to turn, was forcibly detached and taken home. Upon seeing her house surrounded by fire trucks and police cars, she finally grasped the situation. She stood at the entrance, pale-faced, collapsing to the ground. The children have already been taken to the hospital with Dad accompanying them, because we couldn't contact you. As I stated the facts plainly, she bounced back in shock. It's not like that. I was just stressed from parenting. It's not my fault. Her muttering excuses left me completely disgusted, more concerned about her own image than her children's welfare. She is a truly despicable person. Graduated from a good university, got a respectable job, married at the right age, and had children. Yet you failed to realize what's truly important. Such a pitiful person. My sarcastic comment made Lucy's mom turn her bloodshot eyes fiercely towards me. You? As she lunged at me, frothing at the mouth, a nearby police officer swiftly pulled her away. Let me go. It's all her fault, her conspiracy. I'm not to blame. I'm not to blame. All right. We'll discuss this further at the police station. Despite her wild screams and disheveled hair, the officer efficiently dragged her into the patrol car. A few days after the commotion, Lucy's dad and grandmother came to our house to apologize and express their gratitude. I was relieved to hear that the children were unharmed and doing well. Dad seemed meek but normal, and the grandmother was quite sensible. Apparently, Lucy's mom, who had always claimed to be well put together, did indeed graduate from a good university and had a good job, but she got addicted to gambling along the way. Initially, her husband tolerated it as a stress reliever, but when she started using money meant for education and living expenses, he took over managing their finances, which increased her stress towards me. What a terrible coincidence. In a twist of fate, she was secretly earning money through online marketplaces to continue her casino visits. Her attempt to leave her kids with me was to gamble. On days when Dad worked and the kids were off, she'd leave them alone to go gambling, as it happened today. This fire was a disaster waiting to happen. She is the worst, both as a mother and as a person. Eventually, Lucy's mom never returned home, and instead, her paternal grandmother moved in. Seeing Lucy holding hands with her grandmother at kindergarten, showing a joy I never saw when she was with her mom, brought relief to my heart. Our family's life returned to its peaceful rhythm. 5 years later. I like this phrase. Do you? I really struggled with it. My husband and I enjoyed a late-night drink of cold beer and cheese, watching a movie after our daughter had gone to bed. I translated the subtitles for this film. My steady work and growing reputation as a translator led to more opportunities in movies and children's books. Seeing my work in bookstores and cinemas fills me with pride. My daughter, now in the 5th grade. "Mom always looks lively and cool," she said. What a fulfilling life. If I had given up on working due to my illness or resigned myself to being an oddly young mom, I would have missed out on this happiness. This line, I debated a lot about how to translate it from the original. Okay, I get it. My husband smiles indulgently, always willing to listen to my explanations. I'm thankful for his constant support and look forward to living life to the fullest, staying true to myself.